Hello, this is a video with a strict time limit, by the way, of
We beeped the intro to multiple times.
63 minutes from this moment, and we are on take 3.
Yeah, well, we have a guest at 3, promptly at 3, who we need to invite to the back room first, and we are beeping the opening bit.
That is absolutely
Over and
true.
over again.
So Michael, for the third time, are you familiar with Beauty and the Beast?
Yes.
Okay, there's this song that I want to talk about. It's called "Be Our Guest," and in the line, in the song "Be Our Guest," there is the line, "Try the gray stuff, it's delicious." The next line does not start with the word that does not end with the word that you said that we had to cancel the recording over. The line
Does it end with nutritious?
The line
Nutritious.
instead is, "Don't believe me, ask the dishes. Try the gray stuff, it's delicious. Don't believe me, ask the dishes." And even as a child, I found that line abhorrent.
Because it implies the dishes are also eating the food at
Yeah.
the same time you are.
What it implies, Zach, is that the dishes are a 100% tongue.
It means whenever you lick a dish, you're making out with it.
Oh, yeah, it sure does. That means that whenever I hold a dish,
It's licking
it can
your hand.
taste
Yeah.
me.
I was gonna say they know what we taste like and our table.
And I don't like that, guys.
In that case, a dishwasher is like a torture device. Could you imagine shooting all that stuff at your tongue?
No, it's just like one of those like high pressure like mouth washers,
I guess.
which I'm a big fan of.
Okay, that's fair.
But
And
but
you
man,
know
does
it's
it make
okay.
dropping a dish worse?
Yeah, yes. Dishes are alive,
Also,
sentient, and 100% tongue.
Yeah, well, and also the dishwasher thing I feel like is probably okay in this context because for them to be experiencing the dishwasher, they have to be into it. So
That
into the
disturbs me, but not more than the other tongue has. Is dishes being 100% tongue a function of them being dishes? Like magically it knows it's used for serving food? Or is ceramic as a magical material have a taste sense? Because if so, ashtrays,
Oh no!
cigarettes, burning, like it's like setting out cigarettes on your tongue and then having the ash in your mouth. Forever. That's your life.
Real men eat ash.
Yeah. Real men. What about a spittoon?
Welcome to the salty spittoon. How tough are you?
A spittoon is tasting chewing tobacco that somebody else has already chewed. That's its only thing that it's there for.
And like, doesn't it suck for that that mansion staff member, right? Because some of the staff got like turned into candlesticks, and that you're pretty cool, right? One of them got turned into a giant dresser, but one of them, like actually hundreds of them, got turned into tongues. And who can't walk around because some of them
very
can walk
easy
around.
to break on accident.
Yes, but like, and that happens. Some of them get broken. Like, there's dishes that get broken.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare, and it really it makes me hate the Enchantress from Beauty and the Beast even more. You didn't have to do it that way.
yeah, you could have given them like small dish-sized faces.
Yeah, but instead, they're just tongues, and that's my opening bit today.
So when they were transformed, like, was the entire place barren and they were transformed into new furniture and dishes and stuff? Or were they like had their souls implanted in already existing furniture? And stuff?
Yeah, what happened to the old dishes?
So yeah,
I'm gonna be honest. Like this question could take the entire episode to get to the bottom of.
Yeah,
it.
Right.
Well, like my thought is like if you assemble IKEA furniture and had all those extra pieces and somebody's soul was transported into that IKEA furniture, would it just be the furniture you have, or would like part of their body be transformed into the pieces that are like stuck in your closet?
Yeah.
And they're like, I can wiggle my extra shelf.
Something about shelf reflection. This is we've been fielding the possibility of a new series on the second channel called X is a horror movie.
Beauty and the Beast is a horror.
Beauty and the Beast is a horror movie is a good.
I've always pitched that in a like different lens. Gaston is the protagonist in like a Sam Raimi style horror movie.
Oh yeah,
where he is going in to rescue an unappreciative, mind-washed woman from a monster. That is not truly the plot of Beauty and the Beast. That's incorrect. But from Gaston's perspective,
yeah,
that is the plot of Beauty and the Beast.
That is a justifiable position for him to take.
He's wrong about that. But like villain protagonist is wrong about the context of the story. It's like perfect for a Sam Raimi style like horror movie where he is leading a mob of people to fight the beast.
All right, Michael, give us your final thoughts on Beauty and the Beast, and then let's get into this little mini game we have at the beginning.
I was just going to say it is fitting that your opening bit was about a musical because this is a bit of a musical-based discussion that we're going to be having here.
Nice.
So,
if I had a nickel for every time we presented a theory
Blank.
that was based on music, you'd have 2 nickels.
that will be a correct thing by the end of this one. But or is this? Will this be the third?
This would be
Will this
nickel
be the
number
third?
3. Yes.
We have,
Okay.
I want to apologize to Zelazor. We have a massive music-related theory from Zelazor that we've never recorded.
Yeah.
And we've definitely been able to like try and schedule things. We just got too busy or too preoccupied with other stuff. That should be on the docket for things we knock out at the end of this year.
All right. So
Yeah.
I was gonna say I want to ask you guys a question as we sort of get into the music discussion that we're gonna have today. Is there like a particular age where you feel like music and stuff is particularly influential on a person? Like, what age would you say that would be?
My instinct is to say like a person's teenage years, because that is one of the first, at least in contemporary America, that is one of the first bits of expression that you can have outside of your family.
Yeah. Your mom might still pick out your clothes, but she can't pick out your records.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So, I think you could put that in 1963, George R. R. Martin was 14/15 years old.
Oh, okay.
That could
In
be a ding.
1963. You said that's the year?
Yep. 1963, George R. R. Martin was 14/15.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay.
All right. So now I am gonna like. There's different ways we could go with this one. This isn't like your traditional like you're trying to figure out the theory. This is more of a why episode, and the
All right.
why is the blank in the middle of the. If I had a nickel for everything, so I'm trying to decide now if I give you the album or if I just give you some lyrics. I think
It's
I'm gonna
1963. Oh, I think we can whole shot this with our music knowledge. Because classic
Okay.
rock is an overlap Tom and I have in our listening habits. We do appreciate some dad rock in this household.
This household
Yeah.
that we share.
My first guess here is Dark Side of the Moon.
no.
I think that's early. I think this is early for Dark Side.
Yeah, I
of
think
the
that's
Moon.
early for Dark Side of the Moon, but I think we're in the right ballpark.
Let's see. 63 is mid Beatles.
This that's Beatles as they're starting to become the like weirder rock band that they became.
Mm-hmm.
They're starting to put out more like albums that push the boundaries a little bit more. They're done with their like what was 63 for the Beatles?
I
They
don't,
were done like I think they only have 2 albums in the 70s, if I'm not mistaken.
because I think that they popped off in 61. So I bet 63 was Hey Jude.
Hey Jude was not. Hey Jude's in the end because I think Hey Jude is from their last album as the Beatles.
Oh, okay.
If I'm not mistaken. I of all people should know this because I had to know the Beatles at one point in my life because I dated somebody who performed.
Since we're on a
with the
time limit, I
Beatles.
can say it's not the Beatles either.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
But that's a good head frame to know what period the Beatles were in because the Beatles were so inspiring towards other artists. So they formed in 1960. Maybe we're off by a lot because A Hard Day's Night was 64. What did they do in 63?
The person that you
Zach,
are
we
looking
are on a time
for,
limit, and you are like you are so intent on this Beatles tangent.
it's music.
I'm looking it up right now to get a tent pole.
Zach is committing.
There's
to
a
the
lot
Beatles
of music
tangent.
history that we will discuss in this video.
All right. I believe that 63 is early Stones.
It's not the Rolling Stones. This person is considered very influential in this time, though.
Is that early? Is that early Johnny Cash?
Not Johnny Cash. They did sing with this person. Johnny Cash did sing some songs with this
We're
person,
talking about
including
Elvis?
including one of the songs on this album I'm talking about. I know Johnny Cash has at least done like a live performance with this person of one of them.
Were they part of the $1 Million
I
Quartet?
think. No.
Okay.
Well, I'd actually wait. I don't know. What did the $1 Million Quartet? What is that?
Quartet was a jam session with Elvis Presley, Jerry Lee Lewis, Carl Perkins, and Johnny Cash because they all happened in Memphis at the same time.
Yeah, no, it was not that.
Notably, most of them lived there.
Funnily enough, that's kind of a low dollar amount.
Yeah, no, you have to adjust for that was in 1956. I think if you adjust for inflation.
Yeah, but doesn't that only make it like a $7 million quartet?
Yeah,
that's still kind of
like a $25 million.
No, that's like that might be a $1 billion quartet.
If you got the
artistic inflation has
dead, but yes.
Artistic inflation has hit harder than normal inflation too. It's like comparing quarterback salaries. It's just like, oh. This is different than it was.
You have to amp up Dan Marino's salary to make it look like, correct.
Yeah. Okay. You have to compare to inflation and the salary cap.
All right, Zach, we're playing Zach and Tom Name a Thing, which is one of our favorite things. So let's just take it in turn. No deep tangents on ones we get to know.
I'm glad I looked up the Beatles thing because we're wrong. That was when the Beatles were first doing the British invasion.
Zach, why are you glad about this? That's why.
So early British invasion, rock is not getting too weird yet.
Okay.
So if somebody's weird, they got weird early.
Okay.
When were the Grateful Dead? Because he loves the Grateful
Dead. A lot of
Grateful Dead. It's not the Grateful Dead.
Okay. Are we thinking in the wrong way? Is this early like Woody Guthrie?
Oh, that's closer.
Wait, Willie Nelson played with Johnny Cash.
Not Willie, no. He did play with Johnny Cash. But
is it Dylan? Is it early Dylan?
But Woody Guthrie is the closest.
Fudge. Woody Guthrie folk. So other like.
And it's not Dylan.
It is Dylan.
Yeah, let's go.
Sorry, Zelazor. You had a Bob Dylan theory also. And
oh no! If I get to the Bob Dylan theory, if someone else has had the thought that I am trying to get across today, I will be happy as can be and surprised.
Zelazor is going to show up at our house.
No, Zelazor, no! I'm sorry, we didn't know.
All right. Your clue is in 1963. Bob Dylan released the Freewheelin' Bob Dylan.
The freewheeling Bob Dylan.
Freewheeling Bob Dylan.
The Freewheelin', no G. The Freewheelin' Bob Dylan was released in 1963.
Legit, if this is Zelazor's theory, I'm going to stop you, and then we're going to have to do the episode with you and Zelazor.
See, I don't know if there's a theory.
Sorry. Because
I don't know if there's a theory at the end.
I have delayed this episode for well over a year now, and I will be a dick if I let you do it first.
Is the song in question on the theory from the album The Freewheelin' Bob Dylan?
Zach's going to hunt right now. Why don't you?
Yeah, because you need to find the songs on the album. That's part of what's relevant.
I got you. I will go and hunt down the songs.
There is something now, like there's something strange about this particular album. This is Bob Dylan's second album. I feel like it may not be controversial to say it's his first good one.
Get him.
I love Bob Dylan, but I haven't actually like listened to many of the songs on his first one. It was just titled Bob Dylan. But on the Wikipedia for the Freewheelin', it basically says like everyone was ready to drop him after his first album, and then after this album, everyone's like, "Oh man, this guy's really good. Where did this come from?"
Okay.
So,
all right. Before I look at it, in the Discord, people were passing around some all along.
I saw that last night, and I was like, "Oh dang, someone is having a parallel thought." All Along the Watchtower is not part of this original theory, but it's so closely related. It's like, yes, this is about lyrics of songs and Dylan's theming and things like that, and his inspirations.
So Zach, we might come back in the next couple of episodes to an All Along the Watchtower theory, because people were like, people in the Discord have been like, that sounds a lot like what happens at the wall.
Yeah.
No, like I read that and I'm like, oh, this is a similar vein to what I already want to talk to them about. This is very funny that conversation happened like a day or two ago in Discord, right?
Yes. All right.
Yeah, because I had.
Hold on. Is this the one from Zelazor?
And to prove to you guys that this is a thing that I've had kicking around in my head for years, one of the clues to this theory, I emailed you guys when you guys did your, like, we're going to pull a random number and try and piece the clues together into a real theory. I sent you one of the clues from this theory as one of the random, not Game of Thrones related clues.
There's overlap here because blowing in the wind is in this theory.
Okay, it's not blowing in the wind. So these theories will probably work together with one another, I would
Okay,
think.
so Tom, we need to immediately book Zelazor so we don't put this off because we're going on a Bob Dylan tangent.
Okay, all right.
So,
Yeah, this is
Blowing
Bob
in the
Dylan
Wind,
mode.
Shelter from the Storm, Girl from the Northern Country, Subterranean Homesick Blues. None of that.
None of so Girl from the North Country is like a half a ding, but not really. There's something about a lot of the inspirations for these songs that would be a ding. If you guys look up like um on Wikipedia, they talk about how he came up with the melodies for a lot of these songs.
I forgot that this
Zach, I think
theory.
we
Oh, can I?
I forgot that this theory has. Hold on, I'm counting.
Zach, we are on such a time limit.
We are.
Well, you are. We're talking about it. You're talking about a different theory.
It has 155 hints.
Great. There has to be some overlap.
There has
There,
to be
there,
some.
there's
like,
there's some overlap probably, but
Can I use a little inside baseball, Michael, from our discussions
yes,
before we started?
absolutely.
You mentioned that I knew this was going to be a music theory, and you mentioned that we might recognize some of the melodies of some of the music because
Yes.
those melodies are quite common.
The melodies are famous because of songs on this album, but they came from older songs.
Right.
This is
okay.
a thing that me and Zach sort of, I think, at one point had a conversation about where like there used to be a time where music was just like written by some guy on a train,
Yeah.
and then some other guy heard it and recorded it 50 years later.
Yeah.
He took a lot of melodies that were written by some hillbilly or some guy in ancient England, and Bob Dylan traveled to England in the making of this album. His first trip abroad was the year before this while he was writing this album.
It
And
used
so
to be
there's a
the
lot of
case that there were very fewer songs and people would do commons or well known.
yeah.
Like the idea of a modern album was an invention of not entirely of Frank Sinatra, but like In the Wee Small Hours is the first example of someone making an album that was geared to be an album, and he made a specific song for that vibe. Everything else is a cover that leads up to In the Wee Small Hours or leads it out, so it had the perfect vibe. A lot of songs from the early rock era were commons, then it became more common for a band to have a songwriter who did all the songwriting for that band. But like, if you think of Hey Joe was made by like a freaking garage band who had no like recognition, but everybody knows the Hendrix version because it had been passed around. So many people have versions of Hey Joe if you look it up. But we all know the Hendrix one. And Dylan himself, he made All Along Watchtower, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody knows the Hendrix version because it's notably way better.
How fucking dare you?
To the point that Bob Dylan
Yeah, I was gonna
said
say,
that.
How
Dylan,
fucking dare he?
Dylan's version is very good though.
I really like it.
I really like
It's more
Dylan's
my
version,
style.
yeah.
I really like Bob Dylan's like slow contemplative stuff. I find it a lot of fun.
And like his voice, I love it. Like he's very expressive of like the emotion he's trying to convey in the song.
I like doing Bob Dylan impressions because it's very fun.
Yeah.
You get really slow and up and
Yeah.
down.
So, to the point where to the point that I'm driving at though, Bob Dylan based many of the melodies of this song on older songs that were like folk songs, and yeah, you're starting to see.
No,
If we
hold on.
want to fill in the middle,
No,
if we
I
want to
had a
fill in the
meme.
middle, okay. Yep. We can leave that in there until we fill in the actual answer.
Perfect.
Okay. So, one of the songs, I'm just gonna well, okay, I've copied and pasted the lyrics into the Discord chat here. Now I guess the best way to just go about this is probably, since this is more of a why episode, like I don't know how much of a theory there is at the end of this, and that's what we're trying to figure out. Um, so the thing about these songs is a couple of the songs on the album in particular, they hit on the exact themes that A Song of Ice and Fire hits on. So first off, the song "Masters of War." Do you know the song "Masters of War"?
No, no, I don't. But Zach is doing something.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
apologizing.
Get on down.
So neither of you know "Masters of War"?
No, hang on.
Okay, because this is the one that I told you this off camera, Tom. So Masters of War was named after or what? Okay, did you have
Did we
something
just
that
get
you were?
messages from Zelazor, or did you message Zelazor first?
I messaged Jelazor.
Zelazor, you can kick in the door right now.
No,
Yeah.
no, Zelazor, you can't, because we have 43 minutes to finish this theory, and we've
Oh,
gone
yeah,
on
we're on
multiple tangents about irrelevant bands.
Zelazor, you can kick in the door after we record with Llama.
Okay, continue, Michael, please.
Okay. Well, yeah. So we're at the point where I don't really know what exactly to throw out first, but since we're on a time limit, let's just get right into it. Zach, do you want to look up, or one of you, probably Zach, or yeah, Zach may be on his phone. I just remembered you're both on the same computer.
Yes, we are.
But do you want to look up the lyrics for the Masters of War? Because Bob Dylan is going hard in Masters of War. He is singing a song directly to the military-industrial complex, and
Since Cold War nuclear arms buildup. Yep.
all of the it's like about as hard as you can go on an anti-war song. Like the entire point of the song is how terrible war is and that it's done by these people in charge. And he is saying basically, I see through you.
Hold on. Is this the one that you sent in next to Henry the Advent Moose?
So this is the lyrics. Below that are the lyrics to the song that it is based off of.
Okay.
So yeah, Zach, you were singing it. Come, you masters of war, you that build all the guns,
build the big guns,
you that build the death planes, you that build all the bombs, you that hide behind walls, you that
you guys
hide
have
behind...
to understand
We're on a
that singing at the same time sounds
Won't
like
work.
the worst
Yeah.
the worst thing imagimaginable. Zach is intentionally
Peter.
trying to wreck this recording.
I'm not trying to wreck the
He's
recording.
trying really hard. I told him to stop singing along with people on a Discord delay, so he knocked the earphone out of my ear.
You know, she sounds like I'm singing. I want to put a caveat here. Like Judas of old, you lie and deceive. A world war can be won. You want me to believe, Bob? We did it twice.
Yeah.
Like I hate to say it, like they can be won. It sucks. It was no good for anyone.
But I think you can see if you look up the Masters of War, it's an anti-war song that goes about as hard as you can go.
Yes.
And it is based on this song called Nottingham Town, which Tom has just put the lyrics up to there.
Was I not supposed to do that?
No, that's fine. No, that's fine.
Perfect.
And so you can see you can compare the lyrics. So Masters of War is using the same melody, and if you haven't heard the melody, it's like this slow like and it's this is the thing that when I looked up the song Nottingham Town, it is the exact same melody. So what Dylan did is he took the exact same music and put his words to it. So this Masters of War, the song is just Nottingham Town. And these are the lyrics to Nottingham Town, which sounds like something straight out of A Song of Ice and Fire here.
Let's see if we can pick out some interesting things here. Zach, we have
I rode a gray horse.
Screen.
Yeah. I rode a gray horse, a mule roany mare, gray mane and gray tail,
Zach,
green striped on his back.
You can't read at the same time as somebody on a Discord delay.
Stark naked drummer.
Zach, he's reading.
Okay.
It's okay. You got either of you can read. Either of us can read.
We're never not allowed to read.
The only time you're not allowed to read is when someone else is reading. That's the only time. You can read any other time, but you waited a solid 4 seconds until Michael started reading it.
But the king and the queen of war.
Yeah, so
10,000 got drowned. It was never born. That never was born.
Yeah. So okay. So here's one of the first clues. All right. Do you remember that in George R.R. Martin's original pitch for A Song of Ice and Fire, he said that the others north of the wall are invading, something along those lines, with armies of the undead and the Neverborn. So the Neverborn were with the others and the whites in George's original idea. The Neverborn was a name for the monsters in that I think are the others. It's not entirely clear if they were the exact same as the others, but I think that was what he was saying.
Sorry, don't draw
So
straight lines.
when you
Slip and
look at when you look at these lyrics, the other thing about them is they're all nonsensical, right?
Yeah.
Like this song fills you with a weird and this is the song that when I first watched this on YouTube, one of the comments was, "This is an ancient melody, or this is an ancient fairy melody that was said to fill the listener with a sense of impending doom." Like that's what this song is supposed to convey, a sense of impending doom.
Yeah.
And it says weird things like I rode a gray horse, a mule roany mare, gray mane and gray tail, green striped on his back. There weren't a hair on her, but what was coal black. So the horse is gray, it has a green stripe on it, but all the hair on it is black. She stood so still, she threw me to the dirt. She tore at my hide, she bruised my shirt. So you don't tear your hide and bruise your shirt, you bruise your hide and tear your shirt. And that's the thing that Dylan does as well in like his later songs is he just like nonsensically switches lyrics like that to just throw you
Yeah.
off just because it makes the song feel weird. Um, so there's a ton of that. Like basically the whole song is that. And then it talks about how like taming this horse or whatever, and then you ride over the plains. You met the king and the queen and a company more, a walking behind and a riding before. Come a stark naked drummer, a beating a drum, with his heels in his bosom, come marching along. Um, it just that sounds like Robert's company coming up to meet the Stark. Like
Yeah.
it it sounds like scenes out of A Song of Ice and Fire. Um, I sat down on a hard, hot, cold, frozen stone. The hell does that mean?
That is how I would
10,000 stood
describe it.
around me, and yet I was alone. Took my hat in my hand for to keep my head warm. 10,000 got drowned that never was born.
Hot, cold,
So
frozen stone is how I would describe Valerian steel.
yeah, like it's like it's just such a it's got the ice and fire symbolism, it's
Yep.
got the Neverborn, it's got a stark naked drummer. Um and the song that it was based off of, like this song inspired the music for a song that was incredibly popular in George's most formative years. And the entire song's message was the entire message of A Song of Ice and Fire, which is that war is terrible and the people who do it suck. So that's one song that is from the Freewheel and Bob Dylan that
What's the name
feels
of the
like
song again? The Dylan
the
song?
Masters of War. Masters
Masters
of
of
War
War.
is based off of the song Nottingham Town.
Zach, I'd like to, pardon me for taking a step back for a moment. I'd like to one up you on that. I'd like to yes and you on that, I guess I should say. That sat down on a hard, cold, frozen stone screams a dragon glass throne.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
too.
Frozen fire or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is very George Martin-y.
Yes.
Is
So,
the is the Bob Dylan is Masters of War also George Martin? We don't need to like dive into it too
yes.
deep.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
The lyrics are so much like the lyrics are to the core anti-war messaging, like as hard as you can go.
Okay.
Um, Literally he ends by saying, I hope that you die and your death will come soon. I'll follow your casket by the pale afternoon, and I'll watch while you're lowered down to your deathbed. Then I'll stand over your grave till I'm sure that you're dead. That's what he says to the
God damn.
basically basically to the president at the time and the military industrial complex. And then he went and sang that song for JFK. And I
Damn.
believe him singing that directly to JFK's face inspired partially the line when the jester sang for the king and queen in a coat he borrowed from James Dean in American Pie. I think that's talking about Dylan at this time in his life
Yeah.
singing for JFK
Well,
and
because he was the one
basically
where
telling him to his face. Yeah.
he was like the clowns and jesters were like big theme of like all along the Watchtower too. So like that's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
huge thing for him. Man, we
Yep.
really need
So all
we should
along
do
the
an American Pie theory.
Yeah, we should.
yeah
I also want to just
yeah
slip in the statement that he did not like Ike. It turns out.
Yeah, he was either did not like Ike or he immediately thought that like Kennedy was about to do worse. Are the only two explanations.
Yeah.
He was mad at the previous president, or he had like very strong pro Nixon sentiments, which doesn't seem right for Bob Dylan.
Yeah, no, that doesn't track for me. Okay, cool.
all right. So the next song though,
Yeah.
we should move on to the next song now because I said there's the one, but this is weird that it happened twice. Uh, the other song, have you heard "A Hard Rain's Gonna Fall"?
Yes, and this is also going to overlap with Zelazor, I believe, a little bit.
All right, here we go.
Okay. So "A Hard Rain's Gonna Fall"
Sorry, Zelazor.
is a song that is, I guess we'll start with the song that is based off of. And it's based off of a song called Lord Randall. And it
Lord
was
Randall.
the
Is
earliest
it really?
yes, the earliest known version being from 1629, and you guys are gonna lose it when you see like the lyrics
No
to this
fucking
one.
way.
Lord Randall, the song is about this young lord who goes to the Greenwood, and he should not have gone there. That's a taboo in this ancient Celtic society. The Greenwood is the place where the fairies live. That's the Fae's land. You don't go to the Greenwood. He went to the Greenwood and he met the love of his life there. She was there waiting for him. She cooked a nice meal for him and then sent him back home. And he's getting home and telling his mom, "Hey, I was just in the Greenwood. I met the love of my life there. We had a meal and all this stuff." And the mom is basically like, and he always says, um, but make my bed soon, for I'm weary with hunting and fain would lie doon, which just basically is like, hey, I'm tired. I want to lay down, get my bed ready. And
Lie
so his
doon.
mom's asking him, yeah, his mom's asking him all these questions like, where have you been? He's like, I've been to the Greenwood. What did you see? I saw this. What did you hear? I heard this. What did you eat? Whatever. And so what happens is the fairy impersonated the love of his life to poison Lord Randall and all of his hunting dogs as a punishment for breaking societal taboos and going into the Greenwood. Notably,
That's bullshit.
all of those things, yeah, all of those things sound like a thing out of A Song of Ice and Fire.
Hang on. Before we discuss that, I just want to point out that that's bullshit. All
I can't
right.
believe the Fae have such an anti-immigrant stance.
Like you have these like legends to keep people out of the Greenwood because there's dangers there. The danger is I'm gonna poison you because you came into the because you broke this social
fairy
taboo.
will trick you.
I have
A fairy will trick you. Yeah,
I have a
magic
sign
will
that
come
says,
and
"No
get you if
great
you break
demons
the
can be
taboo.
esteemed here, and if you walk in, I'm gonna punch you in the face, and that's the only danger."
That's fucking
This is,
stupid.
yeah,
this is not a
basically.
place of honor. This is a place where I drop kick you in the groin.
Well,
Otherwise, it's an open field.
the thing is, it's not the fairy that's singing to him. It's his mother who's saying, "Oh, Lord Randall, you foolish young kid, you should have known better." Basically, is the point. The point of the song is to teach kids, "Hey, all of our social taboos we have are for a reason. Listen to what you're told." Basically, the world the world knows the way things are, even if you, as a young person, don't see that, and you should follow what you're told. That's kind of the message of the song.
That's
So
bullshit.
Bob Dylan
But go ahead.
turns yes, Bob Dylan turns that into A Hard Rain's Gonna Fall. And do you guys pull up the lyrics for A Hard Rain's Gonna Fall, because that
If you have them in
is
front of you
important.
and want to paste
Yeah,
them in
okay,
the
or
chat,
yeah,
I'd be
I'll
happy to.
paste them in.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah,
This is the rare
because
copy and paste video.
A Hard Rain's Gonna Fall, it takes the same call and response. So in Lord Randall, it's where have you been, Lord Randall, my son, and where have you been, my handsome young man? I've been at the Greenwood, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then it's in A Hard Rain's Gonna Fall. It's, oh, where have you been, my blue-eyed son, and where have you been, my darling young one? I stumbled on the side of 12 misty mountains. I walked and I crawled on 6 crooked highways. I've stepped in the middle of 7 sad forests. I've been out in front of a dozen dead oceans. I've been 10,000 miles in the mouth of a graveyard, and it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard rain's gonna fall. So he has the same call and response. But then if you look at the lyrics like all the way through, it's what did you see? Um, what did you hear? What who did you meet? And what will you do now? Those are the questions that Bob Dylan asks. And it's really interesting because you contrast it to, oh, it is too long to paste all of the lyrics in one Discord message. Hold on.
It is a 7-minute song, as Bob
Yeah.
Dylan is wont to do.
Yes. Yep. So he's saying basically, okay, where have you been? And the kid replies that they have been to all of these places where tragedy and terrible things are happening. What did you see, my blue-eyed son? I saw a newborn baby with wild wolves all around it. I saw a highway of diamonds with
course you
nobody
did.
on it. I saw a black branch with blood that kept dripping. I saw a room full of men with their hammers a bleeding. So, I saw 10,000 talkers whose tongues were all broken is another good line. He's seeing people who should be able to speak who are unable to. He's seeing a highway of riches that nobody can access. He is explaining the ways that the American society in the 60s, as he sees it as a kid coming of age, is messed up. He's taking this ancient song about how this young lord has no idea what he's talking about and he needs to follow the rules or bad things will happen. And Dylan is saying, hey, when you go out and look at things the way that Lord Randall did, you see that society is incredibly messed up. And so at the end, he comes to this question of, okay, so you've seen that the entire world is messed up. Everywhere you go, you see tragedy, you see terrible things happening. It's a song about what do you do when the world in front of you appears to be really messed up and bad things are coming, which is a thing that feels really relevant right now. Um, and so he at the end says, "What do you do now, my blue-eyed son, and what do you do now, my darling young one? I'm going back out, for the rain starts a fallin', and I'll walk to the depths of the deepest dark forest, where the people are many and their hands are all empty, where the pellets of poison are flooding their waters." He goes on to basically just say, and um, and I'll tell it and speak it and think it and breathe it and reflect from the mountain so all souls can see it. And I'll stand on the ocean until I start sinking, but I'll know my song well before I start singing. It's a hard rain's gonna fall. So basically, his answer is I'm going to go and I'm going to see what is wrong with the world, and I'm going to get up and be as loud about it as I possibly can. And I know that that's an impossible, non winning position because I'll stand on the ocean until I start sinking, implies that he's going to lose this. But it also, like, it's like basically saying that what you should do is you should go and recognize the ways in which the world are messed up and you should point them out. So he's taking the exact same theme of a young person looking out at the world and he's changing it. He's saying, no, the old ways of doing things are not correct, actually. They're really fucked up. And that's like the main thing George is driving home too. Like when you compare wandering around Westeros to what did you see, my blue eyed son? What did you see, my darling young one? And it's just horrible things all around. That's the vibes you get going through Westeros. And one of the big things that I think is coming in this story is that the old ways have to be replaced by new ways. And I think like the part about this song that I can't figure out is a hard rain's gonna fall. Is that a rain that's going to like cleanse and fix things, or is it just gonna destroy everything? And like the others are kind of a hard rain that's gonna fall, you know? Like it's a weather-based inevitable thing that's coming. Because Dylan was asked about this and he was asked like, what does it mean? And he's just like, it's just a hard rain. It's just something that's gotta happen. It's just like you see clouds forming and you know a hard rain's gonna fall. It's what's coming. You can see it.
Uh,
And
I think
yeah.
that I might have a different take here, Michael.
Yeah, go for it.
This is like the phrase a hard rain's gonna fall, coupled with everything that I know about Bob Dylan, which admittedly is not like that much,
Yeah.
screams to me of nuclear imagery.
Yes. So he said that I believe he even said though, like he made a comment that it's not directly nuclear fallout. It's just a hard rain. I think that was like one of the things he was asked about that prompted that because he does write a lot about nuclear fallout,
Yeah.
especially around this time. But I think he said that a hard rain was one of the lines he did explain was pellets of poison flooding their waters was him talking about how people were being lied to by the news media
Mm-hmm.
back in the 60s which has not been solved, notably. And so like, yeah, he's saying that I think. Oh yeah, it. I don't think his saying is nuclear war is going to come. I think, but he does say like there's the line here. It's in "What did you hear, my blue-eyed son? What did you hear, my darling young one?" One of the things he heard was where is it? I heard the sound of a thunder that roared out a warning. I heard the roar of a wave that could drown the whole world. So if this water is drowning the entire world, that's definitely very apocalyptic, but it's like it could drown the world. Will it? I don't know.
It's
Um
similar to this is the story of a girl who cried a river and drowned the whole world.
yeah, basically. Um so yeah, the thing in the middle that I was gonna fill in there is every time a song from the Free Will and Bob Dylan lined up perfectly with the themes of A Song of Ice and Fire, and was also borrowing the melody from an old folk song that sounds like it should be in A Song of Ice and Fire.
And is also
Borrowing the melody.
uh,
That sounds like it should be.
yeah, is that about right?
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know if there's a theory at the end of this.
Oh my god, absolutely there is.
Like, well, I don't know how to phrase it. I
Yeah,
guess like
like is there a theory at the end of this? Yes. Do I know what it is?
it.
No. I have homework
Right.
to do, is what you've told me.
Well, this also
Now,
like
yes,
we talked
now-
about in our last recording, like passing down stories and keeping them alive.
Yeah.
This is the chain. This is this
Yeah.
old folk song that Bob Dylan was able to do his. I can sing over my acoustic guitar and play a bunch of pretty sounding chords for 7 minutes and keep the story alive that way. And now George is keeping alive
Yep.
by making it an absolutely dense novel series, but exploring the
And
same themes.
he calls it a song. Like,
The Song of Ice
it's
and
just
Fire. It's his
yeah,
song.
yeah.
He
So
couldn't do what
like
Bob Dylan could do, but he can do things his way.
right, and so it's also there are songs off of this album that I know went on to be covered by like people who I know George has talked about. So I don't know if he specifically talked a lot about Dylan, but like it just really feels like, oh, maybe these were at least formative for George. And I want to, like, I'm very curious if when George first heard the Freewheelin' Bob Dylan, did he, as like the writer brained teenager he was, try to go find the songs that they were based off of?
That does seem
'Cause,
like the
like,
kind of nerdy shit he'd do.
I'm imagining,
yeah,
I'm imagining a like the domino meme where the small domino is Bob Dylan releases Free Will and Bob Dylan, and the big domino is Pedro Pascal cast in Gladiator 2.
yeah, that's pretty much, yeah. Um, like, I don't know, like, if we're gonna find like too much too much more analysis other than just pointing out like the wild things about these songs' lyrics
I mean,
and
you
how much
sold
they
me.
fit.
You sold me like
Yeah,
the newborn baby with wild wolves and the like
yeah.
10,000
And
talkers and the
and
like.
it's the exact to a T theme of A Song of Ice and Fire too. It's like the world is messed up. I need to tell everyone about it the best that I possibly can, and that's my job. I need to make it as clear as possible how messed up all of this stuff is.
Yeah.
I'll
And
stand.
and then the other one is anti-war.
I'll stand on the ocean until I start sinking, but I'll know my song well before I start singing.
Yeah. Like what a bar, right?
If that's not George R. R. Martin's story there, I
Yeah.
don't know what is.
Exactly, dude. Like it's just like this. Yeah. It's just so perfect. And it came out at a formative time for George, based off of things that's just straight up ice and fire. Like, yeah.
I bet he burned through this record. I bet that there is a gouge
Yeah.
on his Bob Dylan record.
Do you know the name of this episode yet? Have either of you put it together? What this one's going to be called?
Hang on, let me think here. A hard hammer of the waters is gonna fall.
No.
Let me see.
The
Freewheeling George R. R. Martin.
yes, the
The what?
freewheeling George Martin.
Freewheeling George Martin. I like it.
um but okay, so here's the question, right? Like
Uh-huh.
when we end this, if we end this with enough time left, do we then put a Patreon outtake where we go instantly now and listen to these two old songs and then we don't have to worry about copyright on Patreon? Do we
You have
keep
to worry about
talking about
copyright
it for a little
Patreon? I don't
while?
know if that's the case.
Neither do I, but I'm okay with those getting taken down.
Yeah, well, that's
I'm
the
not sure
thing,
if that
like-
leads to our Patreon getting nuked is the problem.
They won't
Which I
nuke our.
am-
They won't nuke our
I've
Patreon over
heard
one.
I've heard people who
video.
do like movie reactions put their full reaction on Patreon because they don't have to worry about, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, sure. We can
Look,
jump right
look.
in.
I'm absolutely confident that Patreon will not nuke a channel for one copyright
Yeah.
claim.
For one Bob Dylan.
They
Yes.
will take the video down,
Well-
and if you do it like 8 times, they'll get pissed.
and
Yeah.
we're just gonna listen to the old songs, not even the Bob Dylan ones, unless
you're
you guys
right.
want to too. I'm talking about like
The
these
traditional
old
folk
folk
ones.
songs. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell
Yeah. I mean, we
Hell
can
yeah.
listen. So should we wrap this up here and then next recording is Patreons only for our Patreons?
Yeah.
And
yes,
then, yeah.
Michael.
All right.
Tell the people where they can find you, and tell them how the voting population of my brain wants to say
Possums.
muskrats.
Possums.
Why would I say
Possums.
Poss rats.
Posrats? Tell me how the Posrats party is doing.
They're doing good, but the problem is that they just keep fighting over the cat food that's supposed to go to my cats, and they can't really organize a strong third-party run. So I don't think they're going to pick up
They're
even
all
one
splitting the
like
vote against
local
cat food.
election victory. Yeah, no, they need to really start winning some local elections, and then I think they could maybe get someone into a higher position of power who would be a better candidate. But that's a whole different rabbit hole that we can go down later.
You keep
If you
buying-
want to
keep
follow
buying,
me.
Sorry, you keep buying Cat's Choice when you should be buying Ranked Choice.
Got him.
There we go.
All right.
No, you can find me on Michael Talks About Stuff. It'll probably be in the description or something. I make videos. They're fun.
Yeah, and you might be able to find you'll be able to find fun stuff on both of our Patreons.
Yes.
Yeah, I will set up my Patreon if it's not set up by the time you're watching this. At some point soon, it'll be figured out.
And
It exists. There's just nothing on it right now.
Think about how funny it would be to subscribe to a Patreon that doesn't have anything on it. Yeah, think about that.
Some people have. And I'm like, oh no.
Okay, bye.
But